I quit a Duolingo 1070-day streak. Note that I did not let it lapse. I quit deliberately. I made sure it lapsed. I was there at midnight last night to watch the hour go from "you've still got 2 minutes" to "buy Duolingo Plus? No thanks." Let's talk about why I quit Duolingo. Duolingo is free. I must have heard that sentence a billion times. It's what it's always sold on. How can something that is free be bad? Now, I've said good things about Duolingo, I've said bad things about Duolingo. And whenever I say bad things about Duolingo, lots of people don't like the bad things I have to say about it. And they're like, well, that's just your opinion. It's like, yes, it's my video. I am aware that this is just my opinion, okay? But I am going to get into what it might mean for you, what my reasons for leaving deliberately Duolingo may mean for you, whether you're on a 10-day streak or a 500-day streak. Where does this leave us? First, I want to go through the series of events, the little things, the steps in order that led me to finally say, no, that's enough. I don't care about my 1070-day streak. I'm done with this. First, I started noticing that no serious language learner uses Duolingo. I'm talking about people like Luca Lampriello, Steve Kaufman, but even people who are not celebrities in the language learning sphere. Like, I have a friend here on YouTube. She's Swiss. She is at uni, does a very demanding degree. She speaks 4 languages. She maintains a vlog, I think, and doesn't use Duolingo. Now really, if I was a stronger-willed person, I would have quit right then. I should have, but I didn't. This was also around the time that they started claiming to be the best platform in the world to learn, say, French, Spanish. In the little thing on the browser when you go to the website, it says, the best way in the world to learn French. That is just wholly false. They've just made that up. They don't even have anecdotal evidence for that. They've just gone, can anyone contest this claim and sue us in court? No, let's do it. By the way, that 35 hours thing they claim, the 35 hours is equivalent to a semester at university, that is also garbage. I'll put a link in the description for why. The third thing that happened was that I started realizing that maintaining the streak felt like more of a chore than it did a joy or something I wanted to do. And that's not because I don't like language learning. I go straight to language learning whenever I have a moment of free time. If I wasn't making this video, I'd be learning my French, and I'd be doing so through Busuu or Linguist or one of my own methods. But I always felt like I had to go to Duolingo first to maintain that streak, which is just so dumb. And that's when I realized that the streak is not a way of motivating us, it's a way of keeping you. It's like Facebook wants to keep you on its platform for as long as possible. Duolingo is doing exactly the same thing, and they've found a genius way of doing it, which is to say, you've got a streak. This is something good that you're doing. But who is it really good for? You or them? And that brings me to the fourth and final reason, where I finally was ready to just say, I'm done. And like I said, it was way later than was really called for. But I started reading this book, Cal Newport, Digital Minimalism. This book isn't anti-technology like you might think. It's not even anti-social media. It just asks questions about how we've come to use this stuff so much and whether that's what we really want out of our lives. It doesn't suggest that you stop using Facebook. It suggests that you ask yourself, if Facebook is really adding value to your life, and anything else, by the way, does this thing actually contribute to me more than it takes from me? And that's when I realized that Duolingo actually takes from me. I am the product, not the user. And one thing that was keeping me on Duolingo, which I mentioned 5 videos or so ago, is that once I quit, once I decide I'm done with my 1070-day streak, I sort of can't go back on that decision, right? If I want to build a streak now, I start from day 1 again. And I finally arrived, as a result of reading this book and all the other things I've mentioned, at a stage to say I'm happy with that. I'm confident that I'm not going to regret quitting my 1070-day streak. So where does this leave you? Because I'm aware that people say, well, I like to use it for this and I like to use it for this. Okay, but could you not use a better resource in addition to whatever you're doing? Because I've had comments from even learners of Spanish, like, there are so many resources out there for Spanish. Duolingo would not come in the top 10. Why would you not use the other things in addition to your conversations, right? I fully support having conversations or reading texts or whatever it is you want to do that is more serious than just like an app. But there are apps that are better. they will help you more. And you don't need Duolingo. And I feel like a lot of people are using it for the same reason that I was, because they don't want to break a streak. And the streak, I'm going to repeat this, it's for them, not for you. It's to keep you using it. You are the product, not the user. The other kinds of comments that I see a lot are that people are using Duolingo, Busuu, Mondly, this, that, all the things, right, to learn one language. That is not only unnecessary, but totally non-beneficial. You need 2 or 3 good resources. 2 or 3, that's all. And the more you can pair them back, the better. Now, I have a whole speech about this, literally. I gave a talk about it the other night, and I've written an article about it. So I will do that as another video one time. But for now, 2 or 3, that's all you need. Don't overload yourself, not because of the time, but because it just doesn't teach you anything to use so many resources, very, very little. Rather, you want to use one a lot, and you want to talk a lot, and you want to listen a lot, obviously. But you don't want to just keep doing this app and that app and that app, especially if one of them is Duolingo and you're only doing that to maintain a streak. Something else this book talks about is how you use the things that you use. Obviously, it doesn't talk about Duolingo. It's mainly about more social media kinds of things. But I want you to ask yourself, how are you using Duolingo? Are you just clicking through to get the points? Because that's the kind of behavior that it encourages. It doesn't mean you have to do that. You can use Duolingo well, and I've said that before as well. You can use bad apps well, and you can use good apps poorly. But how does it encourage you to spend your time? It encourages you to spend your time to get through the things as quickly as possible and get the points and maintain the streak. It doesn't encourage you to sit and reflect on the words you've learned. How can you use those? How can you put them into sentences? If you're watching this, which you are, if you're watching this and you're sort of on the fence about whether you want to stop using Duolingo or not, then I would say that you're exactly the sort of person who needs to really consider whether it's adding value to your language learning. And not just adding value. Okay, yes, it may be adding value, but is it adding more value than it's taking away? And is it something that something else could do better? Could another resource do it better? I would be quite surprised if Duolingo was the best thing that you could be doing. Now, this is different if you're in, say, your first 100 days. This is a little bit like some YouTube kind of guys who know a lot about making stuff on YouTube, which I obviously don't. They say, make 100 videos of whatever quality before you really start thinking about how you can step up your quality, right? I would say the same. Duolingo, if you've got less than a 100-day streak and you're starting out in your first foreign language, do it. Go for it. 100 days. After 100 days, think about what you should do next. Is there something that you can be doing that's more beneficial than Duolingo? Even if you're already doing the other things, is there some way that you can spend that 5 or 10 minutes? Because that's not as little time as you think it is. I've mentioned that in a video. I think it was 8 minutes adds up to 48 hours a year. That's 2 days, 2 whole days, not 2 working days. It's what? 4 working days? 5 working days. 6 working days. I'm actually doing a video about multiplication later. Not even joking, I am. 6 working days, okay? That's how long 8 minutes a day of Duolingo costs you. So I encourage you to think about if that's the best way you can be spending your time. And again, I'm not necessarily saying that it isn't. You may be learning a particularly obscure language that only Duolingo has. But that doesn't mean that if your language isn't one of the big Euro 4, that there are no other resources out there. There are so many resources for most languages. Now, I could talk for 45 minutes about this, but I am aware that my videos tend to go long, so to be brief, think about all the technology you use, not just for language learning, social media, anything that is a part of your regular life. Does it actually offer you more than it demands of you? I want you to read this book, seriously. This is not an affiliate link or anything, okay? This was from the library, so you can see the thing there, okay? I'm getting a lot out of this book. I think you can too. And if you found that this video added value to your life or you got something out of it, then stick around and watch some more videos. Consider subscribing. I thank you so much for watching, and whatever language you're learning, I wish you all the very best with it, and I'll see you next time. Reading this book by Cal Newport, Digital Minimalism. Damn, that's hard to say. Subscribing, and whatever language you are learning,